Today I'm going to talk about how we plan to keep the beers cold when we're living off-grid. Now, as some of you probably already know, we've been testing some off-grid solar power systems around my house to get ready for our life on the road. And if you're watching this channel for the first time, basically my wife and I are retiring early, selling our house, and then we're going to live between a caravan and a boat. And that's the idea at the moment. Plans can change. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview, really. Not any technical detail, I'll leave that for another time. As to the things that I've had to think about when putting together a solar power system that will run everything that we need it to. So first of all, to take the caravan, for example, the caravan came with, when we bought it, came with a three-way refrigerator. So it's got a little freezer compartment. It's called a Thetford fridge. Very nice little piece of kit. Works off gas. So if you've got a gas canister in the front, it'll actually just power off the gas. You can power it off the 12 volt and you can power it off of mains. That's been great. We've taken this caravan away on numerous holidays, 12 holidays in 1 year. We went just little weekends away and we use that fridge all the time. But we had electric hookup. Now electric hookup obviously gives you mains electricity. Yes, you pay extra for it, but it just means you can power anything. It doesn't matter. You can use a kettle at the campsite and everything else. Now, to save on costs and to keep our outgoings minimal, we're not going to be wanting to be hooking up to electric every time we go to a campsite. And that includes abroad as well, although abroad is much, much cheaper. So although there's a 12 volt battery, a leisure battery in the caravan, as there would be in like motorhomes and on a boat, for instance. If we're not having electric hookup and we're using the lighting and various other bits and pieces around the caravan off of the 12 volt battery, eventually that battery is going to go down. It's going to go flat. So we need ways of recharging that battery. Now, of course, if you have an electric hookup, there's a charge module inside the caravan that will then convert the mains power and that will charge the battery from there. So that's one way of doing it. But as I said, we want to keep costs down. So solar power is the one that I've been experimenting with. I have experimented with generators. I've experimented with turbines as well. And I found that solar is the least maintenance way of charging a battery. Now, of course, you can only do it when the sun's shining, or you can do it when it's overcast. It still works, but it doesn't work as well. But obviously overnight, your batteries are still going to drain. So here's what I've done. I bought a fridge that is a 12 volt compressor fridge to replace the one in the caravan. So when we're actually living in the caravan full time, this one will only run at about, it's rated for 80 watts, but it'll run at about 40 watts, but only sort of 10 minutes at a time. And it does that, kicks in every 10 or 20 minutes. So over an hour, it might be on or off about 3 or 4 times. It's not on permanently. The fridge that's in the caravan at the moment, when it's on electric or 12 volt, it will run at 174 watts consistently, day in, day out, 24/7. And that's quite a big drain. So not really conducive to running off batteries at all. The best way to run it is off of gas. Now my particular one, there's some circuitry in the back. When I had it tested and the caravan serviced, he said that it didn't really run off gas very well. It kept cutting out. And those circuit boards in the back are in the back of the fridge are very, very expensive to replace, so it's not worth doing. So which is why I bought this other one. So I bought this fridge for about £250. I think it was just under £250. I can't pronounce the name of it, but it runs off 12 volt, only 12 volt. It's literally got 2 wires hanging out the back, which you just connect it up to the battery. So I've been practicing with an Alpicool top loading fridge, which runs at about 30 watts every now and again. So it doesn't run on 30 watts all the time. Just when it kicks in, it cools itself down and then it stays cool for a bit. And then as the temperature goes up by a couple of degrees, it then kicks in again and runs at 30 watts. Now I ran that off of my DIY solar generator, and it's been running really, really well. I've had a 100 watt solar panel charging that during the day, obviously, and then the fridge has been on there 24/7, and I've had that going for probably a couple of months now. So, but we've upgraded to this fridge, which just draws a little bit more because it has a freezer compartment and it's a bigger capacity. But I sized it all up so it will replace the fridge in the caravan. So that's what we're going to be using when we're actually living off grid. So I'm going to be using a 100 amp hour battery, lithium battery. Now the reason I've gone for lithium is because when you've got quite a high draw coming off of the battery, the leisure battery, especially the one in the Caravan, which is a lead acid, the voltage drops quite considerably, and quite often inverters or fridges will just cut out to protect the battery if the voltage drops too much. Whereas a lithium battery, you can drain it right the way down to almost 10% capacity, 10 or 20%, and it will retain the same voltage of 12 or 13 volts. I know I'm getting a little bit technical here, but basically lithium, as opposed to lead acid batteries, lithium won't drop the voltage and they stay consistent all the way through, and you can draw them down way down to almost 10% capacity, if not nothing, because they have internal systems that protect themselves. So my particular battery, the eco-worthy 100 amp hour, has a Bluetooth connection that I can connect up to an app, and I can look at the actual capacity left on the battery. Now normally you'd need something called a shunt or a smart shunt to work out how much the capacity is left. On this one it's all done, which is brilliant. So that gives me the what's left on it. It also tells me what's being drawn off of it. And then I have a Victron charge controller, which this blue thing, which has its own app as well, and that tells me how much I'm getting from the solar. So the ultimate goal, of course, is to have more solar coming, or at least as much solar coming in as I've got going out over a 24-hour period, and that's how you kind of size it up. Now I'm going to go into a lot more detail, and there's also a link in the description for a free checklist that you can download that I've put together with all the detail of how all of this works, and some wiring diagrams as well. You can download that for free. And I've also got some other projects coming up that if you're on my email list, then you'll know about soon. So that's what I've been testing. I've got 200-watt solar panels that I use for this particular system. I probably will upgrade to 3. So what I'll have is I'll have some spare, flexible, very lightweight panels that I can just store in the Caravan. We will be very limited on storage, which is probably why we're going to keep the storage unit down at the marina for now. But certainly, as a lot of you have suggested, our thoughts are now, while we're thinking about everything, it's like once we've sold the property, go away in the Caravan and just take some time to reflect before jumping into anything emotionally and spending money that we don't want to be spending. That's what we're going to be doing. So back to the Caravan then. So we'll have two systems basically. I'll have the house battery, which will be the lead acid one that's already in the Caravan. That's all linked up to all the lighting and the shower pump, the sink pump, and all of that. That'll stay the same. I'll have a 100-watt solar panel charging that up, and that will also charge off of the car when I'm towing, and it will charge off of any mains hookup that we have as well. And then I'll have my lithium battery bank, I'll have that separate, charging up from the 2 other panels that I'm going to have. And as I said, I'll probably have some spares that I can then link up if I need to, on a grey day. If I need some extra oomph, I'll link up some extra panels and hopefully get more solar that way. So the reason I've been going on and on about the fridge is because that's going to be probably the biggest draw. My laptop does actually, the power charger for the laptop draws 250 watts or a couple of hundred watts at a time, which is a big drain, but it's only temporary because it charges really, really fast. The laptop doesn't actually take that much power. So on the road I can use that, maybe making sure it's charged on a sunny day, or if we're out in a cafe, maybe I can ask if I can just plug it into their plug or something like that. That'd be the easiest thing to do. You might be thinking, why don't you just buy one of these units, one of these solar power generators, or they call them solar generators? Very good point. And I have got one. I've got this Safari one, which is 400 watts, runs really, really well. I use it for, small things. It's got its own inverter, it's got its own charge controller. I'm one of these people that likes to know how things work and likes to kind of reverse engineer stuff, So over the last 15 years or so, I've been building various off-grid solar power systems just because I wanted to know exactly how they work. And what you'll find now is that if you give me the basics of a solar power system, I'll know exactly how to put them all together and get something up and running, giving me power off grid within 10 minutes, literally. And because of that, I'm able to replace parts if they go. If one part breaks in this particular machine, the 400 watt, then the whole thing's kind of kaput. You can't just replace them out because they're all on the same circuit board. And I don't do all the soldering and all that kind of thing. So what I'm saying is a DIY kit like my small bank, which matches this one. You can adapt it, so you can put your own USBs on there. You can have USB 3 ports. I could swap out the inverter for a larger one or even a smaller one if I wanted to. I can change bits and pieces as I go. Very, very simple. It's all about keeping costs down and making things basically modular so that I can replace parts as and when they go. That's what I need for when we're living off grid. You know, so whether we're living in a motorhome, whether we're living in a caravan or on the boat, or, you know, somewhere between all three, or you know, whatever we're doing, we're going to have solar generating all of our energy, or most of our energy needs. We will be using gas, so we'll be cooking on gas. We'll be using camping stoves in the awning to maybe have breakfast out in the awning. I've got alcohol burners, things I've collected over the years. So, you know, a kettle, for instance, I wouldn't be able to run a mains kettle off of this power. Well, I probably could off the power bank if I had a big enough inverter, but it would drain the battery considerably, because, you know, you put a kettle on, you're looking at about 2,000 watts, unless you've got a really low wattage one. Same with a toaster. Anything with an element, a heating element, drains batteries like no end. So, you know, we'll be using a gas grill to brown our toast off, and the kettle will be on a gas hob. And gas is really cheap. You know, I thought gas had absolutely rocketed, and I was kept putting it off because there was various places that said they'd just run out in my local area. I went up to a campsite the other day and replaced 6-kilo bottle of propane. It's the orange bottle, and it was something like £28. It was really, really cheap, because once you've got the bottle, you know, which cost about 60 upwards, depending on the size, the gas is generally pretty cheap. And, you know, we as I say, we went away at least 12 times in 1 year, and we've been away a few other times in this caravan, and that was on the gas bottle that I hadn't filled. When I bought the caravan, that gas bottle came with it, and it was far from full, and we used it to cook on and everything. So, and there was even a little bit left in the bottom when I went to replace the bottle. So I know that is going to last us a long, long time, and most campsites provide them. So, you know, where are we going to be? Campsites, pretty much. So really looking forward to it. Looking forward to the challenge of setting it all up. And the good thing is I've got, you know, replacement charge controllers. I've got replacement solar panels. I've got lots of different batteries dotted around as well, so we can get power from lots of different sources. So we certainly won't be in the dark at night. Our mobile phones will be charged all the time, no problem at all. I've even got a folding solar panel. It's only about 20 watts, but it folds up into a little square like this, and it's perfect, and that'll charge a mobile phone over a few hours in the sun. I'll probably go into a bit more detail about my setup once I'm installing it into the caravan, because then I can show you how I've kind of wired it from scratch and stuff. And as I say, I've got a couple of projects coming up, and as I mentioned earlier, you can download a free checklist of all the things that I go through when I'm wiring up a system, and with a wiring schematic as well. Check the link in the description. But for now, I'm going to enjoy the heat wave. Hope you do too. See you on the next update.